This is First You Hustle, a podcast from the Columbus College of Art and Design meant to help students and budding creative professionals put their expertise to use. Have you ever bought something online and then religiously checked the shipping status? That's a rhetorical question. I know you have. I've even looked up Hodgkins, Illinois to wonder why my shipment is spending so much time there. And hey, fun fact, more people work at that UPS facility in Hodgkins, Illinois than live in the town. Anyway, you know where in the world your package is because of something called RFID. And Smartrac is a company that has built similar technologies and developed other technologies to explore the depth in which information can be stored in products.
At the end of the day, we want things to be easy for the retailers to be able to react to the consumer's needs, and we want things to be easy for the consumer to really enjoy a frictionless experience. When I'm trying to find something on my phone or I'm trying to find something in the store, I don't want to go through a bunch of unnatural gyrations to try and figure out what my purchase decision should be. I want it to just be presented to me based on the criteria that I have, and that's where I think the creative skill sets are very important.
That is today's guest.
My name's Tom Bishop, and I'm a senior director responsible for our global technology solutions, alliances, and customer success.
And we're going to explore where this innovative technology, the user experience, and the need for creative minds all intersect. Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Jordan Bell, and this is our 24th episode, the Jack Bauer of episodes, if you will. Before we get into today's topic, a quick reminder about where you can find us. We're actually on the radio now, too. So if you're in the Columbus area, tune in on Monday nights at 7 p.m. on WCRS LP FM 92.7 or 98.3. We just started sharing episodes on that platform, and for the most part, it is similar to what you will hear here, just edited to fit a 30-minute block. We will also feature our call-ins on that platform, so call the show at 614-636-0874 to leave a message that might be featured in future episodes. You can then ask questions, tell us your stories of success or failure, tell us your hopes or fears, and we may address them on the air. But if the podcast format is more your speed, just make sure you are subscribed. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, or like us on Facebook, facebook.com/firstyouhustle to get updates about new episodes. And hey, speaking of updates, Tom Bishop from Smartrac is our guest today. Tom will tell us all about Smartrac in a moment, but in a nutshell, it is curating a, quote, Internet of Things by laying information on products, products that can give you updates. This helps with all kinds of things from supply chain management and logistics to safety to streamlining the user or customer experience. In today's world, the user experience is often what edges out products from the competition. And when you have a well-engineered piece of technology and a user or customer base that could benefit, you'll find that there's a missing piece right in the middle where the two come together. And that is where the creative touch enters, making this technology easy to access, easy to use, and not encumbering on the user's experience is an art in of itself. And that's why a technology company is being featured on a program about creative careers. Here's my interview with Tom.
So Smartrac is a global company. We were founded in 2000. So the last couple of years, we've kind of moved into more of the software arena. So who is Smartrac and what are we? We ideally or essentially digitize products. So any product that might be out in the market, we can associate with our transponder technology and identity to that product. And then we can track it. We can provide sensing information on it. Really a whole bunch of data that we can collect on that product as it moves from manufacturer out into the customer's hands, even beyond the customer's hands. We were started in 2000 as a hardware company out of Europe. We have since moved into more of the software arena where we're now providing solutions and collecting data from those chips to help companies make real-time decisions on what they should do from an efficiency, logistics, customer experience standpoint.
What are some examples of products or projects that you're currently working on, like implementing this technology?
So we work primarily in three industries, retail, logistics, and industrial manufacturing. In the retail space, it's really working with high-end luxury goods. We have a variety of being able to digitize these products. Some are invisible inks we can put on them, and others are just enabling the tag or the sticker price, for instance, with some embedded technology that allows us to collect information about that product. So in the retail space, it's typically making sure that the product is authentic, it's not counterfeit, being able to help those retailers ensure that they get the right product to the right place at the right time. So, for instance, a store might be out of a certain style or a certain type of product. We can help them understand where the replenishment products are in the supply chain and get it there more efficiently. In the industrial space, a lot of our digitization is focused on machines and assets that are either in the factory or out at work sites. We're able to identify, based on our certain data we collect, that a machine might be ready to fail, a conveyor belt might be ready to break, or in some cases, a truck might be getting ready to run into someone that's out doing construction work. We also have use cases where we can identify who is checking out certain types of high-end equipment at certain times during the day. Are they using the equipment properly? Are they checking it back in at night? So again, helping to prevent shrinkage and loss of their assets, but then also saving lives by making sure that trucks aren't running over people when they're out there doing construction on some of these sites. In the logistics space, it's having sensors on the trucks or on the ships or on the planes that interact with the digital identities we're putting on the product to help track where that product is at any point in time. In addition, being able to identify when that product goes from one person or one carrier to another, when that happened, what was the state of that product. It's particularly important when you look at refrigerated or frozen goods, where we're trying to make sure that at no point from when that product leaves the farm to when it hits the grocery shelf, that there hasn't been any issues with temperature, bacteria, pH level, anything that might indicate that product might be bad for consumption.
I think naturally you think of all the applications of this being in logistics and safety and security, and that's probably where it started in 2000. Now in 2019, with technology, I mean, we all have like an RF reader in our pocket, basically. How is what your company does changed with like emerging technology as far as going beyond just being safety and logistics? I can see a lot of applications for this, giving additional information on products to consumers being able to interact with products. How have you started focusing on that area of product enhancement?
Yeah, so that's a pretty insightful question. Traditionally, as you mentioned, a lot of our work has been more in the back office, so optimizing supply chains, optimizing inventory levels, again, helping customers get the right product to the right place at the right time and reduce waste and inefficiency. Now that NFC readers are available on your iPhones, and they've always been, or for a long time they've been available on Android, but more and more of the user population is becoming aware that they can put their phone up to one of these products and it can tell them information. So we're really seeing a lot more work in that customer experience side of things, the ability to interact with the customer during the purchase decision and then after that sale has been made. So a lot of companies, as we all know, are trying to cultivate customer loyalty, enhance their rewards programs, and just provide more stickiness to the consumer so that they don't necessarily leave them for a competitor. We have a variety of use cases and solutions we're working at there. Some of them are more internal customer focused or company focused, where they are with customers opting in, of course, helping collect information on their profile and their preferences so that they can better market to those customers. So opposed to everyone getting an ad on something, you might get a specific ad that is based on what you like to buy and what's important to you. On the flip side, we're putting more information into these digital identities for these products so that if a customer, for instance, is in the store and they're considering making a purchase of, let's say, a high-end garment, they can put their phone up to that particular tag for that product, and it can tell them a variety around that product's history. What type of materials was it made from? Where was it made? What types of other sizes and styles does it come in? How quickly can you get it? Is it in the store? Does it have to be shipped? Can they take it to your house? Do you have to come pick it up? Any other offers or promotions that might be there.
So far, everything sounds like it's purely engineering and computer science and logistics, and very innovative. But where does the creative and design input come into a product like this?
So we're very interested in our partnership with CCAD and the students that are gaining skills in the creative areas. And there's a couple reasons for that. Certainly our solutions have a technical slant to them. However, as we talked about earlier, there is a big opportunity for everyone around the consumer engagement and the consumer experience. And in our mind, it's not just being able to provide a very simplistic information. Where was this product produced? What material is in it? For instance, is some of the, or is it safe to eat? But I think it's more around making things easy. We just came from the Natural Retail Federation, in New York, which is an annual retail conference that just about everyone that's involved in retail in the world goes to. And it was interesting because there's a lot of great ideas, there's a lot of neat technology, there's a lot of very cool stuff happening, but at its fundamental core, everyone was focused on one thing, which is simplicity, just making things easy. An example, at this particular event we were at, we had badges that we were wearing, which allowed us access to certain areas. At lunchtime, of course, everybody is up on the main pavilion trying to get lunch, and we had to pull out our credit cards to pay for the lunch. Well, in a more easier, simplistic world, why wouldn't we just have the badge with an identity on it that could tie back to our company account to where we could just walk past a scanner and would automatically debit us for whatever food we picked for lunch? So at the end of the day, we want things to be easy for the retailers to be able to react to the consumer's needs, and we want things to be easy for the consumer to really enjoy a frictionless experience. When I'm trying to find something on my phone or I'm trying to find something in the store, I don't want to go through a bunch of unnatural gyrations to try and figure out what my purchase decision should be. I want it to just be presented to me based on the criteria that I have and allow me to make a quick decision. And then once I've made that decision, get that purchase transaction and get me on my way. So when we talk about CCAD and what they provide, a big part of what we're trying to do is to understand the consumer experience and understand that in ways that consumers want to react with either providing information, sharing information, or digesting information. And that's where I think the creative skill sets are very important. We need to build personas around different product lines, understanding buyer behaviors, buyer interest, capturing that information, translating that back into marketing presentations or demonstrations or things that we need to negotiate with our partners and our providers so that they're making our technology the best it can be to solve those types of challenges and to provide the best experience for consumers. And even the other areas, when we talk about inside the warehouse or with the logistics truck, you can imagine we'd like to understand what are the issues for that warehouse personnel, what's going to make things easy for them to leverage our technology to make their jobs easier as well. So again, a lot of it comes around leveraging these skill sets to help us build the customer personas, understand buying behavior, understand warehouse, really any sort of user that might be interacting with the product. What is going to make things frictionless? What is going to make things easy? I think that the skill sets that are coming out of CCD can help provide those answers for us. And then even beyond that, with our demonstrations and with our artifacts and with the way that we present ourselves as a company and market ourselves as a company, we really want to leverage a lot of the latest technologies. So, I talk a lot about internally gamifying our assets or adding augmented reality or virtual reality for that matter, slow motion video, animation, illustration techniques. Everyone consumes information a lot of different ways, and we want to make sure that we capture all those different types of methods for gaining whoever our stakeholder might be, gaining their interest, gaining their experience, getting their buy-in.
You recently had a CCAD student work on a project with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what that project was and what their role was?
Sure. So we identified a couple of students that were looking for potential internships. We do have a couple internships that we're working on qualifying students for the spring and the summer. We put a holiday project together, which we offered out to some of the students right before everyone left for the break. And we had a student accept the offer. We basically provided a set of assets and artifacts, so some of the current demonstration materials and presentation materials that we use when we're marketing to our partners and customers, and basically said, can you take this stuff and gamify it? Can you add animation? Can you add illustration, video, whatever, put some sound bites over it? But basically take what we consider flat assets and flat artifacts, meaning that they don't necessarily pop and sizzle and provide a lot of, modernized sort of messaging. And we basically said, hey, try and, with whatever experiences and capabilities you have, go just try and take this and uplift it into more of that dynamic level.
If you were talking directly to a student, how might you describe to them, I can see it's kind of a little bit of a learning curve for a student that's in a creative environment, choosing a creative major, at a creative institution, to hear about, what your company does and the products that you do. Then how would you explain to a student what their role is and what skills they can bring to the table?
I've been in this industry for 25 plus years. Did not ever think I was going to get involved in technology and computers. I was heading off to law school and a few other things like broadcasting. But ultimately, I ended up talking with one of what back then was called the Big Four firms, and they kind of excited me about the opportunity to go into a bunch of different businesses and see how they do things and try and help them do better. So see the world, go out and learn a lot about the business community. And so I got very excited about it, went out, and I've been in this business ever since, 25 plus years. I came to Smartrac from IBM about a year ago. Lived here in Ohio for about 18 years. And the thing that excited me about Smartrac is the technology and the company and the culture that we're trying to build here in Columbus and really across the globe is very much focused on trying to be more progressive and doing things that a lot of technology companies that I've worked for and seen just haven't done in the past. Typically, the technology companies that I've worked with kind of surround themselves with everybody kind of on the same page. So to your point, a lot of computer science, a lot of folks that are involved more on business or just engineering, things that are a little bit more dry. And our point of view is that to be progressive and to truly provide some of the experiences and solve the use cases we've been talking about, it really takes a diverse set of skill sets. And so when I would talk to someone here at CCAD about what we do and how they would fit in. Again, our idea or our tagline is we digitize products. Anything that's out there gets an identity, but then it's really what we do with that. It's the information we collect and how we appeal to the different stakeholders that would benefit from having our technology in the product. And that's where I think the creatives come in, the ability to, again, take our assets and take our artifacts and the things that we use to market what we do, the things that we use to communicate what we do. When we go to seminars and when we go to events like NRF, where there were 40-some thousand people, took over the Javits Center for 4 days, and you had thousands and thousands of retailers and vendors at this show, being able to appeal to them, having flashy, exciting, interactive, very cool ways of communicating what we do and getting people thinking about what we maybe even haven't thought about yet. So I really see folks like this being able to come to the table to bring new ideas, bring new communication methods. And when you talk about career path, there's a lot of ways that these folks can very quickly ascend to senior roles within these types of, with our company and others. It's, the marketing function, the communication function, the outreach to, again, a much more complex environment that we've ever been in before. Our products can be sold to a variety of companies in a variety of phases of what they do. Again, we focus on retail, industrial, and logistics, but we certainly have a lot of case studies in healthcare. We have a lot of case studies in utilities and energy, and I can go on and on. We just kind of have to focus. As you mentioned, there's so many use cases out there. We almost have what we call use case-itis. There's just so many. We kind of need to focus on where we know that there's immediate opportunity. And that's what we're doing. But creative certainly can help us open up new markets with the ability to translate a lot of the stuff that we've thought through and help us reach out those other areas with just some, again, thinking that's a little bit outside the box. And so, again, I think there's quite a bit of opportunity for folks like that to contribute and provide value in a company like ours.
Are there specific majors that you look for? But because so far it's been described as a certain skill set, is that agnostic to a major? Do you take from every majors, or is it very specific to like industrial design or one major?
So my personal opinion is we could be fairly generic in terms of the majors. Certainly, I think folks that have a little bit of industrial engineering background can help us because there's a little bit of technical foundation there when we're talking about facilities and the way that things kind of move within environments, and so that's important. But I've been very impressed with the work products I've seen coming out of the video and the animation and the illustration group as well. So, a lot of it's about the person. A lot of it's about attitude. If someone is excited about coming into a company like ours, wants to be part of really a startup within a very established company. We have about 1,000 employees across the globe, but here in Columbus, we just opened up the software headquarters for our global capabilities. We on a very strong hiring trajectory. We're looking to get to 30 people by the end of this year. We're about a third of the way there, and so being part of an office that's very much all hands on deck, everyone's running around doing a lot of stuff, and being in a very exciting, really robust space where we're getting a whole lot of attention in the markets and explosive growth. People who can operate in or want to operate in that kind of dynamic environment and learn very quickly, wear a lot of hats, be able to contribute in a very collaborative type environment, I think is more important than the major itself. And again, I look for people that have high energy and can communicate and want to learn things. And for me, that's probably the most important thing. The degree is great. It shows a lot of discipline and the ability to overcome a lot. Having gone through college myself, and I've got a daughter right now in her junior year who's kind of making me relive all of those experiences. So that's a great foundation to have, and certainly that's important. But I think the attitude and coming out with a hunger to want to grow and want to contribute is probably the attribute I look for most.
You mentioned video, illustration, animation. Is that a need for like motion graphics and video that would be integrated into these products? Is that where those skill areas would be?
I think it's in a variety of areas. Yes, I mean when we look at the at point of sale and post point of sale interaction with consumers, it's taking what might be a dry URL redirection that we give them and making it more dynamic. Again, I'll come back to gamification because I've got some personal experience in cultivating customers with gamification on websites and stuff, and I think that's a very important aspect of building brand loyalty and building customer stickiness, to entertain while you educate and while you inform. So I can see a big opportunity there as we're developing out that part of the market further.
What are some upcoming opportunities that students or maybe even graduates that are going to be graduating in May, what type of opportunities can they look forward to?
Well, as I mentioned, we're hiring across the board here in Columbus. We have a new 10,000 square foot office opening up in Polaris in about 2 months. It's supposed to be very modern. It's taken about 6 months to get to this point, so I have very high expectations as to how that office is going to turn out. But we are hiring across the board, everything from traditional programmers and analysts and designers and testers. We have a pretty senior team here within Columbus already in place, and we're all very highly motivated to mentor and to bring students along and to help them develop into the early stages of their career and be at a point where they can get promoted and kind of move on into bigger and better things. So initially, we've got a couple internships that are going to be open here. We're already starting to collect candidates to come in and do some initial interviews and kind of talk about what we're all about and see what kind of interest we get in return. And those will be focused on initially looking at our internal assets, kind of like the holiday project. We'd love to be able to turn over a set of demonstrations, a set of presentations that we currently utilize and see if they can upgrade them and make them more dynamic. And then from a solution side, ultimately we would like to have students that are helping us with the deliverables that we're producing out for customers. So again, I'd go back to retail, help us better understand what this particular profile of a perfume consumer, what's important to them, what information would they want to share, what would they want to get in return for that information, and help us build out those personas and those storyboards so we can go and communicate that to folks that can make decisions to make investments to make those things reality. If we look at logistics, for instance, it might be the same thing, going out and helping us work with some factories and some machinists and some transportation companies and look at the way that they do business and look at the different personas that would be touching the product and helping understand what's important to them. What do they want to get out of the information we can provide, and what are they willing to share, and how can we turn that into a storyboard and an experience and something that we can go to the stakeholders and say, here's what we could do, here's the art of the possible, are you willing to fund it, and get people to basically pony up so we can go make those things reality.
And just to clarify, that space you said opening in 2 months, is that like March, April 2019 timeframe? Is that what you're...
It is, yeah. I think that we're looking at a March timeframe. I think we have 2 internships open, one of them a little more technical creative and one of them a little more functional creative. And certainly I think we're flexible. Again, I'll come back to the perspective of if we find a candidate that kind of fits the intangible soft criteria, motivated, wants to learn, wants to share, communicates well, can think outside of the box, wants to be in a dynamic environment, has a desire to grow into a career from an internship, that definitely is the primary skill set we're looking for. And again, we would like to see some work product and stuff when we go through our conversations to kind of see what they've done and how that might align to some of our expectations as to what we look for these folks to do.
That's great. It sounds like there's a lot of exciting potential, and thanks for coming in and sharing it with students. I think there's a lot of great opportunity here. So really appreciate you coming in and talking with us.
Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate it as well.
That is our show for today. Thank you as always for listening. As a reminder, that hotline for comments, questions, whatever you'd like to share is 614-636-0874. Just leave us a message and catch up on past episodes on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, or facebook.com/firstyouhustle. We'll see you next time. Our theme is Jimmy H. Boogaloo by the Juanitos, Creative Commons license from the Free Music Archive.